Hi guys! Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Today is Mother's Day here. It's Sunday and I am having some time to myself. I'm actually just going out for a few hours. What I do want to do, although I am going to bounce around and go to some stores, some of my favorite stores, I want to talk to you guys today about stuff that as a designer, I just don't think is worth the money, and I don't think you guys should waste your money on it either. I feel like some of these items you've probably seen quite often, and I'm gonna debunk why they're kind of a waste of money. But it's totally up to you. If you love the item and you get it, cool. I'm gonna go to Cornerstone Home Interiors, which is absolutely one of my favorite stores. I'm gonna go to Southwark Antiques because I love a good find whenever I can get one, and I just love that store. And I'm gonna probably head to Structube and HomeSense and just a few home places to check out because it's Mother's Day and I get to actually have just a little bit of me time and a Starbucks. I'm definitely grabbing a Starbucks because I need to have a Starbucks. But before we go, I want to dive into the first item on my just don't waste your money on this. And that is a pot filler. Now this one is more like when you're building a house or if you're doing a major kitchen renovation. But I see it so often, and yes, they look really pretty, and I feel like most people are like, but it's so practical. It fills the pot when it's on the stove, so like, why wouldn't you have one? Here's my issue with a pot filler. After you've cooked whatever it is that you're cooking, obviously if you're filling a pot, maybe, noodles or seafood or whatever, you're putting in that water. Then that water's coming to a boil. What do you do with it after? The pot filler doesn't drain it. And now it's hot water. So really, you're doing the most, I guess, dangerous part, we're going to say. Dangerous, air quotes. I have gum in my hand, sorry. The most, I guess, the part where you don't want to spill the water after. And it don't drain your pot. So, like, you still have to carry it from the stove to the sink. Full of now hot water. You could let it sit there until it's cool, which is still fine, but you still have to lift it from the stove to the sink. So you've only eliminated one direction, and it's probably the easiest one because the water's just coming out of the tap. And if you're worried about like, well, my tap has hard water, I have a reverse osmosis thing. So or soft water, and you need hard water, you can have hard water line. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem to make any sense to go through the effort of putting a water line in behind your stove for a pot filler because it really is just an aesthetics thing. And that's all it serves. Like, totally honestly, that's all it does. All right, so that's my first one on the list. I'm going to go and get myself a Starbucks.
Hi there, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Really good, thanks.
Can I get a grande cafe mocha with no whip, please?
Of course.
That's everything.
And that was hot today, right?
Pardon?
You wanted it hot today?
Oh, yes.
Perfect. And any snacks I can grab for you? Maybe a warmed up coffee cake?
No, I'm okay, but thank you.
No worries. And just your name for the order?
Anya?
Sorry, it was?
Anya?
Alrighty, perfect. We'll see you up here for 6:15.
Thank you. Got Starbucks. I treated myself today. I'm not gonna lie. I went and got myself a cafe mocha, which I never do, except for on my birthday and apparently today. My birthday's only a month away, so I'm gonna have it again soon. Oh well. Is it a little indulgence? Okay. I wrote down the list. See, I have all my notes. Okay, so the next place that I'm going to is Cornerstone. They have 2 locations and I'm super obsessed with them, so I'm actually going to both locations, but it really ties into my next point, which is buying matching furniture sets. So I find it's a really big waste of money to buy matching sets, mostly because it just looks generic and it doesn't really lead to, I guess, a well-designed space. And I feel like if you're coming to this video and you're coming to my channel, you really do care about what your space looks like and you want it to look like a certain way or fit a certain style or just be pulled together. So I feel like it's okay. I'm talking to like-minded individuals here. That's why I bring it up. If you do happen to love, the brick or whatever and buying the full sets, cool, do you. That being said, if you're interested in like a tailored look, definitely avoiding buying matching sets. Now, not to say you can't go out there and buy like the couch from a set, even if it's from like the Brick or Leon's or Tepperman's or whoever. But, you know, pair it with different chairs or pair it with something else. Like, don't buy everything from one set to really help create it, even if you're on a budget. Now, Cornerstone isn't like the cheapest place in the world, but it's not the most expensive. And a lot of their stuff you actually can find at Restoration Hardware. And I'm only bringing that up because I am looking for a sectional, a cabinet piece on one wall, and a dining table. My belief is that like live in a place for a year before you buy like new furniture. So we have been in our new house for a year, and now I'm kind of ready. Like I have the vision of like how I want it to function after living in it. So the couch is like a really big item for us because ours is not to scale for the space, mostly because it used to be in our basement in our old house, which was a lot smaller, and it fit perfectly down there, but now it's in this much bigger space and it's too short and just too anything that really works. Although it's a really nice couch, it just doesn't work. So I'm going to Cornerstone to look for a couch, and then I already kind of know what I want to do for a chair. I might hit StruckTube just to check them out too, because they do have a chair that I'm liking. Maybe I'll show you guys some, you know, some bits depending on how comfortable I am. It's a Sunday, so it's like busy, you know. And before we go, we'll touch on the next point number 3, and that is not taking the time to figure out scale and proportion. Now, I have a video. It's a really old video, so it might not be the greatest quality, but the information is gold, and that is all about scale and proportion. And I even have another one about like how to size furniture in your space. And I do highly recommend like getting a good sense of that. And here's the easiest trick of all. If you just really can't visualize it, get that painter's tape, get the size of couch you're looking at or chairs you're looking at or all the pieces you're looking at. Literally move your furniture out of the room, and if you can, and lay out tape, or before you move in, and lay out the tape and the size and where you think it will sit. It will really help visualize like the scale of space. And you really want to try to get your furniture to, you know, work in your space. Because if it's too small, kind of like my situation, or if it's too big, it just doesn't look right and it doesn't feel right. And you really want to make sure that you have like proper clearances and all that kind of stuff. So scale and proportion of furniture, and like actually figuring that out before you say are out shopping and just like, I love it, it's going to totally work. And you buy something and then it gets delivered. And unfortunately it doesn't work, it doesn't fit, and it looks odd. I've had that happen with a lot of, you know, friends where they've called me and they're like, I don't think this is right, help. And you know, I'm like, can you return it, because like it's totally the wrong size. So that's the thing, take the time. That's actually like it could potentially cost you a lot more money, but it's free to do on the front end. That one's a real big savers. We'll jump into the next one before I drive, and that is purchasing the wrong size area rug. So I actually was taking measurements before I left because I have an area rug that is definitely too small. It's like an 8x10 and I need a 10x14. That being said, I actually really love the area rug and it totally works with the look I'm going for. So what I want is a 10x14 jute rug or sisal rug that will actually go underneath that rug. So kind of a little design tip. If you've purchased a rug and it is too small, and you know, I can include some images here in editing for like what you don't want to do. It really needs to be under all of your furniture. If it's just sitting kind of floating in the middle of it, that's wrong, it's too small. If you have a living room set up, for example, you want it underneath the couches, underneath the chairs, like it really needs to go through the whole space. So that being said, if you do have too small of a rug and it's like just a bit too small, like mine is just a bit too small for the space, you can buy another rug, like a very neutral rug underneath it, and then it's like a layered effect, so you've got like beautiful layering. I've talked about that many times, how important that is, but also from a style, it just looks like it really ups the level when you kind of do that two fabric or two carpet on top of each other. It looks really, really nice. So that's what I'm going for. I'm actually going to add in another one and keep the one that I love because I am cheap. We have talked about this. I do not want to buy new things if I do not need to buy new things. So that's the next point. Now we're going to go to the first Cornerstone location, see if we find any gems. I don't like, you know, I'll include you guys if it's worth including. If it's just me kind of walking around, I won't, you know, I won't bore you with that. Okay, we're off. So online it says they're open, but I just got here and they are very much closed. Not open. The Cambridge one says it's open the same hours, so I'll go check it out. I'm gonna be bummed if it's not open. I really want to go, but I guess before we drive again, where's my list? I should have this memorized. Okay. All right, so, oops. Sorry, I'm holding it now because, all right, maybe I'll put you, I'll do it this way. Elbow, okay. Okay, so before I go, I might as well just do another one on the list. So another one on the list is pushing your furniture. I gotta close that window. Hold on, stay with me. There we go. Pushing your furniture against the walls. So that is a big no-no in design. Again, I say don't waste your money, but these are also just like really helpful tips. So if you are buying furniture, don't like think about your scale and proportion with everything pushed against the wall. Try to have things off the wall, you know, leave some room for a console table or I don't know, the Holy Ghost or something, but just don't push everything up against the wall. It looks much nicer when it's got some room to breathe. You know, we call this white space. You just want to have some extra space around your furniture. You don't need to have everything tight against a wall. Of course, if like that's the only way it works, like a condo situation, then maybe you have to put it against a wall. But for the most part, if you can and have the space to scale your furniture appropriately and then not have it right against the wall, aim to do that. Trust me, it will look so much better. You'll be happy. Okay, this one is a waste money one. This one is a big one because I had a house like this and I could never for the life of me wrap my head around what they were thinking. Let's take my glasses off. So we had a house and the main bathroom had a pedestal sink. There was room for a proper sink. And even if it's tight on space, like even if you could only fit a 30-inch wide sink with like cabinets and storage, do it, unless it's a powder room. But for any bathroom that's for guests or main use, save your money. Don't go for a pedestal sink. Buy a proper sink with storage. And I say that because although it can look really, really cool, and maybe if you have like a huge storage area there, it's not a big deal. But for the most part, like a pedestal sink to me is just a waste of space. Like real people have stuff. Like, okay, maybe a minimalist might be able to get away with it. Or like I said, if you have a storage, but we had storage in our bathroom and I just found like there's stuff I want to keep in my sink drawers. I don't want things on the counter. And also with the pedestal, you have no counter space, but like my hairbrush or toothbrushes, you know, like hair stuff, blow dryer, all that things. I want that right there. I want access to it when I'm using it. So that was something that I was just like, I can't believe that they wasted money on this because it was a Kohler sink. It was actually a really, really nice pedestal sink. And I didn't have a powder room to put it in. So off she went to, I think we ended up donating it to like Habitat for Humanity or something like that because it just was such a shame. It was a really good quality sink and it was so impractical. I needed storage. So we bought, I think it was like a 42-inch or 48-inch. Like it was much larger. We had the room for a proper sink with like drawers and cabinets and it was very much used and needed. So yeah, don't waste your money on pedestal sinks in a home that like for the main bathrooms. Keep that to like a powder room. That's my tip. Just practicality. Sometimes practicality over all else is really, really important and really, really functional and just good. Okay. Let's see. We got another point before I move on. Okay. Next on the list is buying curtains that are too short. So you want, I did a video a long time ago, another one where I talk about how to hang curtains, but the basic tip is as high as possible and about 12 inches like outside of the frame if you can, 6 inches kind of at minimum, but definitely like out and up. And then from that height, measure to the floor. And like you can order curtains that are longer than the standard. So I think a lot of curtains, like the standard is 80 something inches or whatever, and it might be too long or it might be too short. It really depends on how high your ceilings are, etc. But do that measurement first and then go out and source the curtains. A lot of times if stores don't have it in store, they can either order it in for you, or you can buy it online in the right length, or get them longer and have them hemmed. And I know you're thinking, oh my God, like she's talking about hemming stuff. It's so worth it when it comes to curtains, because when they're hung too short, which is something I see all the time. And as a designer, I try not to like comment on friends or friends of friends' homes that I might be in, because it's nobody wants to hear it. And if they do, there might be something they don't like, and they want to hear it, and then when you say it, they like really don't want to hear it. So it's better just keep my mouth shut. So anyways, I see it a lot. A lot, so often that it's on the list, and hanging your curtains wrong or hanging them and they're too short, it just looks terrible. Get the right size curtains, or buy longer curtains and hem them up. I would rather a curtain pool than a curtain be too short. Some designers will disagree. But if I had to choose between too short or too long, I'll go for too long any day, because too short is just, it's like flood pants. Mind you, I'm pretty sure those are in style, but they won't be forever. Just trust me on this one. Measure your curtains. Okay, I'm gonna make the drive now to Cambridge and hope that they're open. Otherwise, my like little day is kind of shot to poop. But we got StruckTube and HomeSense, and I'm sure there are a couple other places. All right. Holy crap, that was loud. Okay, they appear to be open. Lights are on. All right, guys, just a quick little thing. If you are liking the content, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. I really appreciate it. Just, lets me know you're enjoying it. Okay, next point. This one might be a little bit controversial, I'm not gonna lie, because even in my own family, we don't all, we didn't all do this. So I firmly believe that it's not worth childproofing your home. Yep, said it. I did say it. So something that really irks me, and that's just a personal thing, if you want to do it differently, it's totally up to you, is that look of like gates and locks and all the things that just, to baby proof your home. I'm kind of that mindset, like, let's just teach them early on how to respect the home. And also, I am very cautious around stairs, etc., because our old house did have stairs. And you know what? If I had to, I did have a gate that I would put up if I had to walk away for a second, like for the most part, we were always in the same room. But like if I had to go to the kitchen or whatever, like I did have a gate that I could put there. But that being said, I never really used it except for the basement stairs, just because that was the upstairs one was, it's hard to explain. But even then, it was just one of those things where, yeah, I just don't like it. And I have other friends who are of the same belief, and like their kids are all fine too. And they didn't do all the different things to like stop children from getting stuff. Okay, something somebody might argue is like, well, what about knives and blah, blah, blah. Well, I kept them in a knife block up on the counter. Honestly, by the time my kid can reach a knife block, he's already old enough to know better. So I'm not worried about stuff like that. But just that baby proofing garb that you can do, or like living in your house or changing the way you live in your house, like getting rid of a dining room and making a kid's room. I hate stuff like that. I feel like you can have, their room and toys and like bins and keep the stuff in the bins, and like, it doesn't mean that they're not there. I just don't like when you kind of forgo a comfortable home or a home aesthetic just for children. And I know maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but it's my opinion, and I never did it. I have a nice home, I have nice things, and my almost 6-year-old has no problem, keeping said things nice. So, I mean, he's not perfect, but like he definitely doesn't damage things or like grab things. I don't think he ever broke anything that was glass either, to be honest. And I had glass things on low shelves. I never changed it. So yeah, kid-proofing your home. I don't think it's worth spending the money on all the doodads and things. It's okay if you don't agree. We're not all the same. Some people might think this is a bit of a self-serving point, but honestly, it I have heard from many people that it has saved them a lot of money. So if you're planning on doing, kind of like a full refresh or a remodel or something that's going to involve quite a bit of money. So, a full refresh could even be just like all new furniture, or, a remodel might be a new kitchen, or maybe you're taking out some walls or changing floors, etc. If you're getting into that, it is a better use of your money to bring in an expert. Even if you only pay for like a small, like maybe a 3-hour consultation to just get some input from somebody who really understands space, understands furniture, understands design, all of those things, it will be worth it in the long run, because when you're doing some of those things, if you don't really kind of know what you're doing, it could be very costly to, do it again, or to try to sell something, to get the right thing. Sometimes it's better just to invest on the front end, to have a designer or a decorator kind of help you, even if it's just a consult, just some guidance for making some of those big purchases, because, furniture is not cheap. Paint, although not super expensive and really good, like that's a really good inexpensive way to freshen up a space. It really sucks if you have to do it more than once, because, you just really didn't understand that was going to look like poop. The other thought with that is flooring. Flooring is so expensive. If you pick flooring that just like isn't going to hold up, or isn't like, just doesn't look the way you're thinking it to look, or if you're doing a major renovation and you're like, well, we're really handy, so we'll figure it out, and then you just forget either certain costs or to, account for certain things. Like kitchens are one that's like, super particular, because there's like a whole flow that you really want to consider. It's called I think the working triangle. You can tell I don't work in residential all the time, because sometimes I forget the specific names. But basically there's like the stove, the fridge, and the sink all kind of have to have like, there's a thought process to the spacing and how it's all laid out. Kitchen design is like a specialty all on its own. I could go on for hours about kitchen design. But that being said, not taking the time to invest, oh God, somebody's pulling in. Not taking the time to invest in a designer could end up costing you a lot of money if you don't really take the time to like figure it out properly. And instead of spending money on doing it twice, just do it, do it right the first time, which is also the name dirt. Oh no, wait, do it right. No, wait, what is it? Dirt, D-I, do it right this time. Oh, wrong. Do it right this time. There we go. They make a wall system. Anyways, just super side note. That's what it stands for. Dirt. Super random. Anyways, so that's my tip there. There's somebody next to me and I'm super uncomfortable, but that's okay. We're going to keep going. We have one more point on our list that we want to cover. I don't know what it is when somebody walks by. It just feels so silly. Okay. Anyways, back to my list. Okay. This is one that I feel like a lot of you come to my channel for, and I am going to touch on it, and that is spending money on a specific design trend without really truly figuring out what you like. So a lot of the videos that I do on here is about design trends and what's hot, and some of it's new stuff, some of it's just like styles from all different eras. And I think really spending some time with discovering what you gravitate towards will really help you in the long run, because let's say you're like, I really am into the boho look. That's my look right now, and I'm like so into it and this and that. But like last month you're really into Victorian, or maybe you're really into minimalist, but now you're more of a maximalist, or maybe you're into vintage and switching. And it's nothing wrong with switching styles, because I think we naturally change and evolve over time. So absolutely, that does happen. And like, I look at my old house to where I'm at now, and like over the last 10 years, my style has evolved a lot, and I'm definitely have a different kind of look that I'm going for now. But that being said, sometimes taking the time to kind of sit with it, because you still want to invest for a period of time. You don't want to just, well, maybe you can afford to, but most people don't want to like buy stuff and then like 6 months later being like, what was I thinking? I don't think I like that as much as I thought I liked that. So just trying to really like nail down stuff that you naturally gravitate towards and that you think you will like for a long time, or doing like a kind of traditional backdrop, or maybe not even traditional, but just like classic kind of like big item, big expensive pieces, and then just changing out like the accessories or the extra items, and then that cost is a lot less. So it's just when you get into like committing to a certain look, and it's more of on a whim than it is on like a, I've figured out that this is my style and I absolutely love it and I don't think that's going to change, you know, because this is just who I am and I've always gravitated towards that. That's different. It's when it's more of like, this is super on trend right now and I'm going to jump on the bandwagon because I love it. But if you're not sure you're going to still love it 6 months to a year from now, you might want to kind of carefully curate which items you buy to kind of like do that look. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Do the accessories. So basically I'm saying is try to plan your space before you spend thousands of dollars on, you know, buying stuff for that space. I was watching, I think it was Shelby and Monica Church. They built a space in California somewhere. They have like an Airbnb, and throughout the process, like as a designer, I really love their videos, but I felt bad because they kept buying stuff that just didn't work for the space. And that was one of their lessons that they learned like through that renovation process, just not really kind of figuring out some of the scale and proportion and items that like really worked for the spaces, and then just kind of spending money on stuff that like didn't really work. And it's a costly thing, even if like those two young women have a lot of money and I think they can afford to make some of those mistakes. But I would like to say that most people aren't in that position, and I recognize that. That's why I'm trying to help kind of like with some of the advice to help save you money so that you don't end up in that situation, because absolutely it can be super costly and we don't want to spend money and then spend money again if we don't need to, and we can get it right the first time. So that's the goal. I'm going to jump into Cornerstone. That's it on my list. But I'm not going to sign off yet because there may be some things that we need to see, and it might make me think of something else. So, you know, I'll pop that in here. They're open. I hope you guys enjoyed today's content. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. YouTube seems to think you're going to like this video, so definitely check that one out next. And until next time, bye!